Welcome to the Kerner office. It's Friday, which means that Nick, my business partner, and I are meeting for Holdco Bros. And if you're new to the pod, Holdco Bros is where we discuss business ideas and what's going on in our companies and really cool things we saw on the internet that you might be able to learn from. So today we talk about Instagram's close friends feature, where there is a way to add all of your friends to close friends. So when you post a story, it gets not just shown to everyone, but prioritized to everyone. So there is a business where you can help influencers, there are millions of them, add all of their tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of friends to close friends so they can get a ton more engagement, which makes them a lot more money, which can help make you money. We talk about negative COGS. We've talked about this before, but this is a different angle, as in acquiring products for free or getting paid to acquire products and then selling them. We talk about the lake weed removal business that I just posted about last week and why that's such a cool idea. Then we talked about some more home service business ideas. And we were just all over the map. We were online business ideas, offline business ideas, but you're going to love it. Please share with a friend, and we'll see you next time. This isn't a $1 billion idea, but this is something that someone could start this afternoon. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
On Instagram, they have a feature called Close Friends. Are you familiar with that?
I think so, actually. But yeah, go ahead.
So normally when you post a story, it is for the world to see. But if you add your close friends to the close friends folder, so to speak, then when you post a story, it will only show to them. Okay. And when you do post a story into close friends, it prioritizes it. Instagram puts it in the beginning of your friends' stories, and they can see that they're in your close friends, right? So they feel a little special, and they'll see it. So what that means is the views on your story go way, way up. Okay. Now, it was like Rihanna or Kim Kardashian or someone right after this feature came out, they somehow added all of their millions and millions of followers to close friends. Somehow.
Like on accident?
No, like they paid someone to do it. And their engagement went crazy. And there are a few people, anecdotally here and there, that do it. And I've read message boards, I've gone deep, I've looked at forums, and your engagement goes up 3 to 6x on your stories. Okay. So here's what that means. So when I post a story with a call to action, let's say like our school scrape, right? We scraped Alex Hormozzi's list of the top 1,000 school groups, SKOOL, and I posted a story to Instagram and I said, hey, I scraped this, give it away for free, subscribe to my newsletter to get it. And I got like 23,000 views on that story, which is about 10% of my total followers. And I got like 1,500, 2,000 email subscribers, which is great. It's a ton. But if I would have been able to add all of those Instagram subscribers to close friends, theoretically, it could have been 3 to 6x that amount, both the views and the subscribers. Okay. So I went to Upwork and I found people that can do this. There's not a lot. It's really, really hard to find someone that can do this. There's some custom code involved, but it is possible. I mean, people have done it. So of course it's possible to do this. So my idea is to reach out to people that have 10, 50, 100,000, 500,000 million followers and offer to do this for them for a flat fee. Because what I was being charged to do this, I haven't done it yet, but I will, is like $30, $40, $50 to build this out for me once. So build it once, sell it 1,000 times. You could charge $100, $500, $1,000 because for all the people out there, there are many, many people out there that are monetizing their business on Instagram. You're giving them 3 to 6x more engagement, flat one-time fee.
I get that this would be business for you because like you're already doing it, but like how would somebody listening to this say, oh, I could do that business?
Because they will offer this as a service to people on Instagram that could make a lot more money if they had all of their followers and close friends.
Okay. So it's just to Instagram influencers essentially that are selling a product. Like that's the target demo.
Which there are millions of, like way more than I ever thought.
Right. I'm just saying they wouldn't be going to like the business down the street.
No.
And offering to do this for them on Instagram. They'd be going to someone who's an influencer that sells a product.
Yeah. I mean, they could go to the restaurant that has 30,000 followers that post, appetizer discounts in their story. theoretically anyone with a business or a personal brand that monetizes it somehow on Instagram could be a customer of this.
The creator economy is just so interesting because there are so many ways to monetize it that have not yet been exploited. 30 years ago, before we had social media, how were products conveyed to people? They were either in print, in a newspaper, they were either in a magazine, they were in radio, or they were in television. Those are like pretty much the channels. Some type of print media, radio, television. And a few companies that had the distribution really controlled what got out there. Not just the pricing of it, but also the supply of what was able to be marketed. And now you've got people who have built micro businesses. They're making a couple $100,000 a year, and they've got an audience that can sell products to people. So it's like opened up this world of advertising that just didn't exist before. And people are still trying to figure out the best way to do it. And this is an example of that, where it's like, oh, Instagram just introduced close friends. I wonder if I could build a business off of this that would improve our advertising metrics. And it turns out you can, because if people are close friends, you're going to improve the rate at which people subscribe to your newsletter or see the product or purchase the product, et cetera. That's not really an idea here. It's crazy to me that every week there's like a new idea for how to better leverage these platforms for distribution.
I've got another one for you.
Oh, okay.
So kind of along the same vein, I don't know who follows me on Instagram, right? I can click on my followers and swipe and I can see them, but there's 230,000 of them. I don't know who they are. Is there anyone cool or important that follows me? I don't know. I'd like to know. Maybe we could do a collaboration somehow.
Probably not.
So I paid a virtual assistant on Upwork $100, and they scraped all of my followers into a spreadsheet. And this was actually very hard to do because I never found if someone finds this, please let me know. I never found a third-party app that will do this for you because of Instagram's API limitations. I found one Chrome extension that will do it, but they throttle you and they'll cut you off after like 1,000 or 2,000 scraped.
And you've got 230,000.
Yeah. I found a guy. He charged $100. It took him 2 days and he got every single one of my followers in a spreadsheet. Now here's why that's valuable, Nick, because about 10% of my followers list their phone number and or their email address in their profile. So
really,
I've got 20,000 emails now that I could email. I'm not going to add them to my newsletter because they haven't opted in, but I could send them a cold email and say, hey, I don't know if you know who I am, but you follow me on Instagram. I know this is random, but I send out a free business idea every week. Would you like to opt into my newsletter? Right. So they'll say I convert 10 to 20% of those, and boom, with a few clicks, I get 2,000 or 3,000 more email subscribers. So that's cool. Or I could go to all the people that have over 100,000 followers and say, hey, let's do a collaboration somehow. Like you're in business, I'm in business, we're both on Instagram. Maybe there's some way we could work together. So my whole thesis is it is really valuable for people that are on Instagram as a business owner to know who follows them. Because it's not who you know, it's who knows you. Mm-hmm. So if you are reaching out to influencers with this pitch about adding people to close friends, this is another pitch. It's just, hey, do you mind if I send you a spreadsheet of all of your followers?
It's just a spreadsheet. It's not a spreadsheet with like analysis. Because how would you identify who the valuable?
They have Google Sheet extensions where you can integrate OpenAI into your Google Sheet into a new cell. And you can say, hey, this is what I do. I sell cookies to wedding planners. I want you to tell me if any of my followers are interesting or could collaborate with me somehow. So you could send it to them like with that already done, because most people won't have ideas. They won't know what to do with them. So part of the pitch has to be implanting an idea in them.
And is the scraping just the 10% that have the phone number and email, or is it everyone? It's everybody.
So it's their first name, last name, username, URL, if they follow you or not, if their profile is verified or not, phone number, email address, location if it's listed, website if it's listed. So you could say, hey, for $300, I'm going to add all your followers to close friends. For $500, I'm going to do that and send you a scrape of all of your followers. And then you just outsource all of it.
I wonder if you could also do that. Like, let's say there's somebody who's trying to grow a business and they have a business that sells, I don't know, healthy water. No, that's a stupid one.
Edit
healthy
that out,
protein
Mohammed.
shakes. Healthy protein shakes. However you define healthy protein shakes. And you want to qualify which influencer you think is going to be the best for your brand. Could you do some analysis of their followers? Or this could be for the influencer, right? Like if you're a podcaster like we are and somebody wants to come and buy ad time, they're going to ask you for your download information, right? They want to know how many people are actually downloading and listening to your episodes. So this could be something where you provide it for Instagram influencers to say like, this will give you the profile of your followers that you can then give to people who are asking you for information about marketing with you.
Like a media kit.
Yeah, it's like a media kit, but it's like an audience profile kit.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Or it could automatically make a media kit for you based on everything it learns from your follower base. Like, all right, you could charge this much per reel. This is the average age of your follower and all that.
Yeah, I like that. There's like applications that you can't even think of all the applications. So that was a really stupid thing to say. I'm so dumb. You can't even like think of all the ideas. There's so many of the ideas. I sound like Kamala Harris, dude. Yesterday was today, yesterday. And tomorrow will be today, yesterday's tomorrow. I got one for you. You ready?
Yeah.
I got this text this week. Hey, Nick, I'm Dallas based too. People always think I'm Dallas based, which is funny.
Makes sense.
Anyways, I work in the pallet recycling and waste industry. I was listening to your podcast and we think the same way about B2B. I'd love to buy you lunch sometime. So I was like, I'm not in Dallas. I can't buy you lunch. I was like, well, what are you thinking? It's like, well, one of my customers throws away thousands of tons of good, but not possible to sell vegetables. It's all going to the landfill. So I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, they tried to sell them, but nobody can take them all. So they just have all this excess inventory of vegetables. And so I was like, what made you reach out? He's like, well, the way that they dispose of these is they've got to put them on pallets and then ship them out, right? I want you to guess, this guy's their vendor. He does their pallets. How much does this company spend on pallets a month?
Well, I was in this business a little bit with Send Eats because we used to have to buy pallets. And that's the whole industry. Pallet recycling, pallet repair, new pallet construction sales. Oh, geez. I don't know. I have no idea. But I know they're like $5 to $30 a piece, depending on the quality.
This company apparently spends $30,000 a week in pallets.
It's crazy.
$30,000 a week, so $120,000 a month. And it got me thinking about the reason he reached out was because of the episode where we were talking about negative COGS.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, hey, you're obsessed with a business that could be negative COGS. So I wanted to bring this up. What kind of a business could we do with thousands of pounds a month of vegetables that they're literally just throwing away into the landfill? It's
easy. Eco scraps. I tweeted about this a month or two ago. Those guys in Provo that started Eco Scraps. They got paid by grocery stores to take produce that was old, and then they took it to a warehouse and they mixed in some sawdust and they mixed it all up. They put it in a shredder and they let it sit for 3 months, turned into organic compost. They bagged it up, sold it to Home Depot for $5 a bag. The major billion-dollar company bought them out like 10 years ago.
What? Really?
Yeah. What's the name of them?
So like, I know it's kind of negative COGS, but you'd still need to pay for the shipping out, right?
Basically, their pitch was they went to a grocery store and said, hey, how much do you spend on your trash disposal? $2,000 a month. Okay. Can we do it for $1,500? Done. So they were still profitable on the transportation, but they got paid to take this stuff for free.
They got paid to take the stuff for freaking free.
Yeah.
Well, and this supposedly is thousands of pounds. Should we do it? Should I reach out? Should I reach out to him?
Is he in Dallas?
He's in Dallas. Yeah.
Man,
I don't want to give his name because he hasn't given me permission. So
I don't know what else you could use that for.
If there's a listener who's in Dallas that thinks that they could capitalize on this, reach out to us.
There was another business that went around to like all the cold press juice shops and so when you juice a freaking carrot, right? You've got all the juice, then you've got all the pulp, and they just throw that pulp away. So there was another company that would just take all the pulp for free and make like fertilizer out of it. The hard part with both of these is you've got to like shred it up in like this huge industrial food shredder. I almost started this business in Tuscaloosa. Those things are a lot of money because if you don't shred it up, then it has to sit for 3 years instead of 3 months.
What?
So you need a truck, you need a warehouse, you need a food shredder, And then you need to buy sawdust and mix it in. Chemlon. That was the company that bought out Eco Scraps.
Cool. Chemlon.
True Green. Yeah. True Green by Chemlon, vice versa.
Well, I thought you'd like that story because it was somebody reached out to me about the negative COGS business.
That is a good story. All right. If you are watching this clip right now, you are watching this on YouTube. And if you are a fan of podcasts, please check out my podcast while you're at it, because sometimes I have podcasts that aren't on YouTube and sometimes I have YouTubes that aren't on podcasts. So check out the Kerner Office on any podcast platform, or you can go to tkopod.com. Also, my newsletter, we'll throw that in there. There are no ads. It's weekly. It's different content than my podcast and YouTube. Newsletter.chrisjkerner.com. You'll see the link and we'll see you there. So I'm on Instagram, okay? You with me?
Okay. Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Nick. I'm up here. Okay. Sorry. I find these guys on Instagram, 19-year-old college students from Chicago. One is a student at University of Nebraska. One is a student at University of Missouri. And they grew up together. They were best friends in high school. And they went home for the summer, Chicago suburbs. And here's what they did. You ready? You with me?
I'm here.
One of their neighbors, they live near or on a lake. And one of their neighbors says, hey, guys, you home for the summer? Yeah, I'm installing a dock in my lake. Can you help me do that? I'll give you $25 an hour. Sure. So they help them install a dock. And then the other neighbor is like, hey, can you install my dock? And they're like, yeah, sure. And then another neighbor sees them and they ask something different. They say, hey, what do you do about all these weeds that keep floating up towards the dock? Because it's really gross. My grandkids want to swim off the dock, but it's just algae and seaweed everywhere. What do you do with that? And they're just like hustlers, just trying to make money. Like, we could try to clean it. I don't know. I don't know what anyone does here. And so they get these rakes, like literally a leaf rake, and they stand in the water waist deep and they just rake up this seaweed because it's stuck to the floor of the lake. Yeah. And it's like very hard work. This seaweed is waterlogged and they're lifting it onto the dock. They're lifting it onto the backyard. It takes them hours and they charge like $500. And they're like, huh. And it's such a visual thing, Nick, like you were just talking about.
It is.
All the neighbors come out and they're like, hey, can you do mine? Can you do mine? They keep raising their prices. No one says no. $500 for a morning worth of work. $700 for a morning worth of work. Now, this is hard work. Like there's no chemicals. There's no automation. There's no machines. They literally have rakes in their hands and they're standing in this water for hours at a time. But they're making really good money. So they do this a year or two ago. Then they come back home and they're like, no more dock installation. Let's only clean ponds and lakes. And there are companies that do this, but they all spray chemicals. And it doesn't get rid of the actual weeds. It just kills them. And so the lake is still ugly. The weeds just don't spread as much. And so literally the only way to do this without chemicals is the hard way. So then, this is such a good, what?
Raking. That's the hard way.
Yes. So then they start posting videos on Instagram and TikTok and they get 10, 20, 30,000 subscribers. And it's very visual. And they put a camera up and some of their videos hit 1 million or 2 million views. And this guy in Chicago worth tens or hundreds of millions of dollars that owns this massive boomer, like a forklift business or something, but with like nationwide presence. He sees them on TikTok, this 63-year-old, and he's like, I like you guys. You remind me of me when I was young. I want to help you out. And they're like, okay. He's like, have you ever seen this? He sends them a link to like this boat that does what they're doing. It helps clean out weeds from lakes. And they're like, I didn't know this exists. It's $100,000 boat. And these guys are broke college students. And he says, let me tell you what, how about I buy this boat and I'll insure it and I'll rent it out to you. And they're like, yes, please. So he puts $100,000 down, pays cash for it, rents it out to them for a very, very fair rate. And now they have a boat. Now they're posting videos of them on their boat cleaning weeds and they're a lot more efficient. They have more business than they can handle. And
dang,
I followed them on Instagram and they saw that I followed them. And then they DM me like, oh my gosh, thanks for following me, bro. And it's like, thank you for DMing me. You guys are awesome. You want to talk?
Are you going to get them on?
Hear me out. I was like, you want to talk? And coming from me to like want to hop on a call.
Oh yeah.
That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. So we talked yesterday and I heard that, 15 minutes of their story and I'm like, you're coming on the pod. And like, this is an amazing business because no one's doing it. And it reminds me of the quote from like 1-800-GOT-JUNK. And he said, as long as pianos weigh 800 pounds, there's always going to be a business for starting a moving business. That's always going to be around, right? Because pianos are heavy and it sucks. And it's a crappy business. So we'll always stay in business, basically, as long as pianos are 800 pounds. So it's like, this is like the sweatiest, ugliest, most manual startup in the world, which means it's an amazing opportunity for anyone and will be for quite some time. What do we think?
Dude, that's awesome. I love it.
Isn't that cool? Awesome. It's somewhat seasonal, depending on where you live, and it's somewhat geographical, depending on what type of seaweed grows in these ponds and lakes. But they said it pretty much works anywhere. In some places, just better than others. So I'm like, guys, you need to like franchise. Like, you already have a social media presence. Like, you could use that to sell franchises. Like, put all your SOPs in a Google Drive. Mm-hmm. It doesn't need to be franchise. It could be licensing or whatever, or sell a course or whatever. But I think these guys are freaking awesome.
That's right. I love it. All right. You ready?
Yes.
I want to go through with you. We talked about a similar idea to this a couple of months ago, but the top 10 media accelerated home services businesses. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. The thesis that we had a couple of months ago was that you could use YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, to make videos that people would then click into to promote your services. Now, we were talking about it from like an influencer standpoint, because this one guy, he goes around, he cleans up people's yards that are just a total mess, and he's gotten millions of subscribers. He makes a lot of money because it's really cool to see that time lapse. But then we started talking about like, what are some other industries or businesses that you could do this with? Well, I started thinking about, if you were the side hustle type and you wanted to start a business and you didn't have money for marketing and you didn't really know what else to do, what are the top 10 home services businesses that would work really, really well on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook by posting time-lapse videos of your projects? So that's the thesis here. Okay. Numero uno, pressure washing. Like, dude, I don't know if you resonate with this. I think every man will. I could watch a 30-minute video of somebody pressure washing either like a really dirty surface, a carpet. Have you ever seen the carpet pressure washing video?
The rug ones.
The rugs. Oh my gosh. It's amazing. And like, we all do the same thing. We're like, okay, now I'm going to do a square and I'm going to clean inside the square. Like,
it's actually super embarrassing. Jesse caught me in the middle of the night watching one of those.
Really?
I'm just kidding. We're struggling through it.
It's like 8 years ago when I went to go visit Chris.
Yes.
And I was staying at his house.
Never forget this.
I was downstairs on the couch. I had my laptop up and open and I was watching a movie.
Keep this in, Mohammed.
And Chris was like coming down the stairs and he's like, oh my gosh, it's midnight. Nick's watching something. What if
I could see like the glow around the corner? And I'm like, I thought he was asleep. And I'm like, oh, this guy, I'm about to, okay, what's he looking at?
He's like, what if he's watching porn? Oh my. Chris turns the corner and there I am, 32-year-old father of a few children. And I was watching The Ice Age on Netflix and laughing my head off.
Yeah. In the middle of the night.
I love kids movies. What can I say? All right. So pressure washing, I think is number one. You ready for number two? This one surprised me, but I went and looked. Pool cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, those videos. And there is like a combination of pool cleaning and pressure washing. If you've ever seen someone pressure wash a drained pool, forget about it.
That's a banger.
Forget about it. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Number three, this is something I've been seeing a lot more recently. Home cleaning. Where like, I saw this one video of this like guy in China who had an apartment, and this guy like smoked 3 packs a day for years, and the walls were just caked like brown, and he went and cleaned it. And then it was like before and after, and the after's like, the apartment's clean now. And I'm like, dude, I would never want to live in that apartment. But anyways.
Yeah. I've never seen like a time lapse of someone cleaning a hoarder house, like a video up in the corner of the room. I've never seen one of those. Have you?
Oh yeah.
Those are good.
Oh my gosh. They're so good. Especially when they're doing a hoarder's kitchen. Cause you're looking at that and you're like, there's no way they can make that look good. There's like dead cockroaches in the sink. There's feces on the ground. Like, and then by the end of the video, you're like, wow. I mean, yeah, the house needs updating, but holy crap. How was that even clean? Yeah. That's amazing. Number 4, tree trimming, particularly hedge trimming. Like the trees or whatever, but like when you got those thick bushes, and people just start with those machines, bzz, bzz, like you're giving someone a buzz cut. They're just so satisfying to see that thing bzz, bzz, get clean over time.
So I'm with you on that, but I'm going to push back a little bit on the first part. The actual tree trimming that is just as good as the hedge trimming from an algorithm perspective, because all of these videos work because of one word: retention. The algorithm knows that you want to see what happens at the end, right? So if you got a guy like 35 feet up in a tree with a chainsaw and he's strapped in and he's cut, like, you got to see where that's going to land. Is it going to hit the house? Is it going to hit the yard? Is it going to hit the guy? Is the guy going to swing off it? Like, those videos get tens of millions of views because people have to see the end result. It's not as visually satisfying as a hedge, but they want to see the end.
You articulated it much better than I could. But basically what I'm doing here is I'm taking the end, the distribution, and working backwards, because I think that these are the types of videos that will have the best retention and the best and highest likelihood of you going viral, that I think will then feed into your business. So that's why I picked these ones. All right. Painting. I don't know if have you seen like these painters like painting a house, or anybody who does like a mural inside of a house? I know that's a little bit different than like a commercial residential painter, but like, dude, it is so fascinating because like for half of the video, you're just sitting there, you're like, what are they doing? What is that color there? Oh my gosh. Why did they start up there? And then by the middle of the video, you're like, I think I see it. And by the end of it, obviously it's amazing, but the time lapse of painting are incredible.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
So there's a company, I don't know if they're local or nationwide, but all they do is paint brick houses white and black.
You've posted about this, I think.
Yeah. Like a year ago, it was a throwaway post, right? I was scraping the bottom of the barrel. What am I going to post? I post, and it blew up because I realized that there is this war going on in boomers' minds about painting brick, because everyone's convinced that if you paint brick, then the brick will like suffocate and the whole house will eventually explode. Like, I've looked into it. There's like some pseudoscience to it, but like not really. And so it is the most polarizing thing ever. What happened to it? Looks so much better. Oh, everything's white now. Everything's white and black. And then the other half is like, oh, that's the dumbest thing you could ever do. That brick's going to fall apart. It needs to breathe. The brick has to breathe. Like, so I think that someone needs to start a company that does that, paints homes, and all they do is short form video. That's how they get all their leads. That's it. Because it goes viral. I've seen viral short form videos anecdotally of like a DIY page, a husband and wife duo, and like, we just painted our house. What do you think? And it blows up and they didn't expect it. And I look at the comments and sure enough, the brick has to breathe. It has to breathe.
That's actually a cool side business. That could be a business in your local area, just approaching these businesses and saying, let me film some content for you. And you can actually start doing it for free. Like, hey, let me film some content for you. I'll throw it up. If it gets hits, then you pay me. If it doesn't, like,
yeah,
whatever.
or it's just, let me film you. I'm going to keep this. This is going to go to my account. Do you mind if I just put a tripod here? And like, I'll give you some of it if you want to use for your own channel. Right. But they don't know what your play is.
All right. So that was painting. Number 6. You'll know this one. Landscaping. Dude, that video of that guy on YouTube, so satisfying.
SB mowing.
I don't know what it is, but like my favorite is when he gets that little dirt that's come over on the cement on the sidewalk.
You sound like Theo Vaughn right now.
I know. I'm trying. He's just like, just, a little overlap right there on the sidewalk.
Like a little dirt, like a little crumble. It's like a little mound of clay, like that Louisiana mud.
But you know what I'm talking about, where like it, over time, dirt just like accumulates and like integrates with your lawn, but it shouldn't have ever been a part of the sidewalk. And so you got to go in there and you got to cut it out. Like, ooh, when he removes that, so he gets the shovel going. Oh my gosh. That is the most satisfying part of the shot, bar none. All right. Next one, window washing. Not as satisfying, but when they get the little squeegee, whoop, 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 and those guys are just like, and they end it and it's clean. It's amazing. All right. Second to last one, gutter cleaning. It's got to be on there. Gutters get freaking disgusting. Lots of good content with gutter cleaning. And then my personal favorite at the moment, I mentioned it up front, carpet cleaning. When you watch these carpet cleaning videos, when they go into like just a disgusting house and they get that carpet from like mocha brown to pearly white. Oh my, it's so satisfying. It's so satisfying.
What's the play here? What's the angle?
So what I'm saying is, if you're a side hustler and you want to get into business and you've been thinking, you've been testing the water, you've been thinking, oh, maybe I want to do a painting company. Maybe I want to buy an HVAC company. Maybe I want to buy a plumbing company. Maybe I want to get a sweaty business. I would start here and work your way back, because I think that marketing, brand awareness are incredibly important, especially as you're starting out. You're not going to have the same budget as everybody else. So you have to do things that don't scale. You have to do the guerrilla marketing tactics. And I would pick one of these 10 to start with. Now, if you're, your whole life, you're like, my name is Luigi and I'm just a passionate about plumbing, right? Like that's just you. It's in your family. It's in your blood. Cool. Go be a plumber. But if you're agnostic and you just want to get into business, I would start by reverse engineering and taking a look at least these 10 and say, okay, these are going to be a good distribution channel for me. Which one of these do I think I can scale up quickly and get business quickly? And then use the distribution channel as gasoline on your business growth.
How does that look though? Like if these videos get millions of views, how many of them are going to be in your local area where you can actually service those customers?
Well, that's the amazing thing is like there's Google Business Profile, which is incredibly important. When somebody goes on to Google Maps and they search for something, especially for home services businesses, if you can rank high, your business is going to get more leads. That's just the way that it works because people see you, there's higher trust, et cetera. But on these Google Business Profiles, you can post these videos. So it's not just, oh, YouTube views are going to fuel this. You're also posting things to the Google Business Profile that are eye-catching, that people are like, oh, that's an interesting video, right? Like it just naturally draws them to your company. And it does add, it's weird, but it does add like an air of legitimacy because it's like, oh, now I've seen some of his work. Cool. I like this guy. I'm going to go out and hire him. So I'm not necessarily saying go post it to YouTube, go viral, and then feed your business. I'm saying you're going to be setting up your Instagram and your Twitter and your Facebook pages anyways. This is the type of content you should be filming, posting. Maybe it's a big hit and it goes viral like nationally, but most likely it's not going to do that, but it will help you locally close the deal with many people.
Can I give you an idea? Here's another option.
Yes.
I think you go find a nationwide franchisor of one of these brands and partner with them. And you just start a YouTube channel that captures leads and you sell those leads to them, potential franchisee leads. I think that's why a lot of these guys that own a home service business that's very eye-catching end up just selling a course, because that's the only way they're able to capture all this traffic, because it's worldwide traffic, right? So their main monetization angle, kind of like Johnny Robinson, goes from, I'm making 20, 30 grand a month on my actual business, which is great, but I can make 10 times that by selling a course because I have all these eyeballs from people that find it interesting. So I think a different angle to that could be capturing all this content and then selling the leads to that company that paints houses, right? Or paints brick houses, or to Rolling Suds that sells pressure washing franchises. I think that could make you a lot more than selling courses. A franchisee lead is worth $10,000 to $50,000.
Done. I love it. You just up-leveled it. Perfect.
Okay, thanks for joining us on the Kerner Office. Every Friday, we do Holdco Bros with Nick and I, and then Monday and Wednesday, I release something else, either a deep dive on one idea or chatting about random business ideas. Thanks for joining.